Hello everybody, Camelia here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you a blouse from Knip Mode Magazine, and I really wanted to make a post for it, a video for it, as I have a few things to share what I found while I was making this, so I was thinking maybe it will be useful also for other people. So, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to the channel, I am Camelia. I am posting here videos all about sewing, of course, sometimes sewing pattern magazines, as I have 1 or 3 subscriptions, I think. So, if you are new, please consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to like the video, as that will help my channel to grow a little bit. So, let's go back to the subject of today. Although at the moment I am sewing mostly summer garments, you know, like bathing for Lisa, for my daughter, and I am making a dress from Sorority, so I have a lot of other stuff to share too. But I wanted to make, and I'm going to make the videos a little bit shorter and on one garment at a time, so you can find the tips and tricks a little bit easier. So today I want to talk about this blouse, which came in the Knip Mode Magazine from issue May of this year, 2023, so 5/2023. And this pattern is the pattern that I'm going to talk about is also on their website as a PDF. First, I want to say that I have completely no affiliation with Knip Mode Magazine. I have a subscription which I pay with my own money, and sometimes I do buy PDF patterns, although I have them in the magazine. You know, if it's a magazine with really complicated pattern sheets that are really difficult to see, I will buy the PDF in the end. But this one, and I must say that in the latest magazines they do offer a little bit lesser patterns, and the crazy thing is that this month, so for month of June, yes, they even put even lesser patterns in the magazine. I find that a really awkward reason to say that they notice that people are sewing lesser in the summer, so they are putting lesser patterns in the magazine, and they promise that somewhere in October there will be more patterns in the magazine, and they are bringing also some extras, also so a special little magazine with the magazine about crocheting and knitting. Although, to be honest, I would like to have sewing patterns in the sewing magazine. As for my knitting patterns, I do have other sources. But anyway, the good thing is when there are not so much pattern in the magazine, the sheets with the pattern pieces are a little bit more easier to trace, so that is a good thing. Something else to remember about the Knip Mode patterns is the fact that they are coming without seam allowance. So, and I know for some people that's really a low point, but I think it's great because also Burda has no seam allowances in their pattern sewing magazine patterns. But that's great because, you know, most of the time you get 5/8 of an inch, or there is a mention 5/8 of an inch, or 3/8 of an inch, or whatever, unless otherwise stated. I don't really like that, because that means that I really need to read the instructions to be sure that I'm going to follow the good seam allowances. So if I am putting the seam allowances myself all over the pattern, then I know what I added in which place, so I don't need to read the instructions to sew a blouse, so I can sew that as I know the seam allowances that I added. But also, another good thing is when you put your own seam allowances on a pattern is the fact that, let's say, for a color, for a rounded edge, for a curve, or to insert sleeves, a 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeters is a really big seam allowance. So if you want to put a color and you are using a 6mm seam allowance, you'll see that that's so much easier. And the same with the sleeve. If you use a 1 centimeter seam allowance for your armhole and for the cap of the sleeve, putting a sleeve, most of the time you don't even need the ease stitches, as it's really easy to use. I'm sewing a sleeve almost always with the sleeve against the bed of the machine, so the feed dogs are helping with easing in the sleeve into the armhole. So smaller seam allowances in some places are really great. So that's why the fact that Knip Mode Magazine don't have seam allowances included, it's a plus for my own sewing. So let's get back to the blouse. This blouse, as I said, is in issue 5 of so that will be May 2023, and I did put here not a mark, you know, one of the pattern sheets to make it easier to show. They have it in the magazine. Actually, it's one pattern with 3 variation on it. You can see it a little bit here. They used for their own makes, they used a little bit more I don't want to say structured, but not so flowy fabrics as I used in mine. So of course the feel of it is totally different. The sleeves are even more, with even more volume, and on mine you can see that only when I have it on. Of course, you can see, but it's not really, you know, it's not like standing out. Again, I made mine in a viscose Challis exclusive from Minerva. I really love this print. Let me go back to the pattern first. The pattern comes with, so it's a, when you buy this PDF, you get all the blouses, if I'm not mistaken. So you get all these pattern pieces that you can make a lot of variations. They made in the magazine 3 of them. So I'm going to show you here the you can see them here. So you have it, let's see, I don't want to put it on my microphone. So you have it here with a banded collar. These versions, they have a classic collar like I have on my blouse. Then you have the front with the front is the same on all 3 of them, but then on the back, on this one, you have a yoke with a dip pleat, and here they used a plain back. So again, mix and match. And then of course the star of this pattern are the sleeves. So here is a sleeve, which is actually the one I made, which is plain on the at the upper part. It's a drop shouldered style. So, but you have gathers here at the cuff. Then you have this one, which has gathers at the bottom and really deep pleats here at the upper part. And the third one has an inverted pleat on the outside of the sleeve here. And again, is finished with cuffs. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see. 2 of them are finished with, so the one I made, the sleeve I made, and this one are finished with a slit and then the cuff, and the third one is finished with a button, with a placket and a cuff. So I think this is a really great pattern, as you get all these pieces that you can mix and match. And I noticed that if you don't put a sleeve, I could also make this one in a really great summer blouse, because I can skip all the way the sleeve and then make like a wider piece of like a band to add it, and then even turn it to make it like a cuffed short sleeve. So I think there are a lot of variations for this pattern. It's really nice. My combination was to use this one with these sleeves that had the banded collar, but I really liked the classic collar. And another change that I made, so here you can see probably the really deep pleat, and I doubled the yoke because I was thinking it's going to look nicer. Now, as I said, the fabric is a Minerva exclusive Challis, is their Sorority, sewing Sorority, I think it's called. It's a really cool print. And the fact, the thing is with this, the Minerva Challis, they are not, how should I say, they are not see-through, especially the dark prints, but the lighter prints like this one, they're just a little bit, at least this white one is just a little bit see-through. You don't really see the body on it, or you know, it's not like you are naked under it. But the thing that concerned me was the fact that I was pretty sure that it's going to show my seam allowances and interfacing for the button placket. This one has a cotton button placket, so I knew that I will have to line it, and when I'm working with this kind of fabrics, I'm thinking ahead what I need to do depending you know, or of the styling lines that I have in it. So in this case, this is a cut-on button placket, and I knew that I need to have some interfacing in it. So I used a really thin fusible interfacing, and I think it's the type of it that is used mostly in embroidery. It's a really soft interfacing that is used behind the embroidery motifs, you know, when you feel it on your skin, that is soft, but it's really thin. It does give a little bit of structure to the fabric, but as you can see here, you do see a little bit of the print through my button band, but you don't really see the interfacing. And I think the key is also when working with a fabric that is a little bit see-through, that you need to be very accurate with your seam allowances. So when you are trimming, if you need to trim them really nicely and straight, because otherwise you are going to see everything from the front. Also, when I stitched down, top stitched the button placket, I took really good care to be really nice and straight, because I knew that you are going to be able to see it. I'm going to, or you know, the public is going to see it. Let's see if you can see here. Something else that I really needed to be careful, I'm going to move this a little bit back again, was the yoke here, because again, and I'm coming back to the fact that when you are sewing with a fabric that is a little bit see-through, all these details are going to be visible. So I took care to have my seam allowances here really nicely and straight trimmed. I did not top stitch or anything because I did not want to distort the print too much. And again, this is doubled, so I think it's looking really, really nice and clean. For the collar, I used the same interfacing, only in this case I did interface both the undercolor and the, you know, the outside color. Also, the button bands are both interfaced because my interfacing was a little bit soft. I really wanted to have good support here for my color pieces, the undercolor and the upper color. You know, if I'm not making videos, I'm not talking about much sewing too much, I'm losing the terms. It's not that I don't know them anymore. Another word that I wanted to share was about pattern matching. So most of the time when it's not necessary, I'm not such a big pattern matcher, so I'm skipping that. But in this case, there were not so many motifs to match, so I was thinking I'm going to take a moment to match my things. So first of it was, of course, the most obvious one, the front. Well, I started good. I wanted to have them matching at the, so where my button placket was going to fold over, not to fold over, to come over. But then, so I cut single layer. And I really needed to remember, and I remembered I did not make a mistake because otherwise I was short on fabric. I cut so one with the pattern piece with the face up on the fabric face up, and then I turned the pattern piece face down on the fabric still face up to have mirror images. So I cut one, and then I used that one to see exactly where it's going to come when the shirt is closed, to cut the other one. So I did not match it here because this is a cotton on placket. I have the piece here somewhere. Let's see. You can see it here, the piece. So I took care to match where those are going to. So at my fold line was my matching point, and not here at the edge, because here this was going to get, let's see, turn like this. So it was really no need to match it here. Anyway, I did, as you can see, I did draw on my pattern to see, but then in the end I did use mostly the cut piece that I had already to be sure that the print was going to be on the right place. The only mistake that I made was I did not pay attention, so I was matching the whole time. When I'm wearing I'm making my shirts and dresses and stuff like that, and things with buttons, I'm putting the right is getting over left. But then I matched this one all the time, putting the left over right. So when I was at the sewing machine and I was starting to construct a thing, I was thinking, wait a second, that's not correct. I wanted to have right over left. And luckily the print is still matching. It's not really perfect, but it's almost perfect. From far away you cannot see, but actually when I did my cutting to have it match like this. And I chose this girl as it was the easiest one to match, that there are not so much details in this print. But anyway, in the end it worked well. So cut single layer, use one piece to match it, to see where the other one needs to be cut. Another place that I really wanted to have a little bit of pattern matching was, of course, the color pieces. And because, you know, you need to work with your print. And in this case, I was lucky enough to be able to put two faces here. Let's bring this a little bit closer. Oh, I don't think you can see now. I used here one face and on this side another face, and they matched pretty nicely. They came pretty nicely here in the front without having to put a center back seam, you know. So I think this was a lucky one. Another place where I wanted to be a little bit matchy, but you know, it's not always possible. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It was here at the yoke, so I chosen this girl here, which is kind of okay, you know, and this one is not completely cut off. So this was my pattern matching. For the rest, I really did not care too much, because you know, the shoulder is dropped on the sleeve. You cannot do so much, as there is a lot of room here on the sleeve. Also, just one little thing, when the cuffs are cut, is a piece of fabric which is cut, it's wider, and then you fold it. I always take care. In this case, you cannot, there is not too much to see, but you know, when you are folding of course one of the sides of the cuff is going to be upside down, so that's something that I always take care to be sure that the one that is facing correctly is going to end up on the outside. And the slit is finished with bias tape, really easy and fast. And I wanted only to show you, let me think, one word about fitting this pattern. So they have, this one is starting with sizes, you know, their letter sizes S, M, L, XL, and because I am a little bit between an S and an M, I made a toile. Where is it? I made a toile in a size S, as I was thinking, well, this is an oversized pattern, is going to fit okay. And to be honest, the fit was quite good. I used this crazy fabric, which is in my stash for a million years. It's a burnout polyester fabric, and I bought it like maybe 10 years ago, or maybe, I don't know, and I have it in a few colors, and it's pretty, but it's really terrible to have it on your skin. So I made a toile in it, because I knew that I'm never going to wear this. And here it is. I made it in size S, as I said, like downsizing a little bit, although I am an M or SM. So this was the blouse. The only thing that I needed to adjust on it was the fact, of course, the sleeves were really too long, and I will show you in a minute the pattern of the sleeve. The sleeves were too long. I only added a little bit of gathers to get a little bit of an idea of the volume. The bust was fitting well. In the back here, it was very obvious that I needed to make my even my doll has a little bit of a sway back. I needed to make my sway back adjustment in the back, and something that was really needed to be adjusted was the fact that it was really too tight here. And of course, that's something when you know, when you go downsize on a pattern, when you downsize, you have the chance that here things are going to be too tight. So based on this toile, I did stay stitch the neckline to be sure that I'm not going to stretch it out when I was putting it on. I just opened the shoulder seam a little bit, and just give it a little bit more room, and that gave me the idea a little bit how I wanted to have it. And based on this, I went back to my pattern, and I'm going to take her. I went back to my pattern and I just made a few adjustments. I mean, this was a really enjoyable project, as the fit was almost good. I did not have to fuss around with the bust and stuff like that, as it is quite a loose garment. Let's see, for the shoulder piece, for the shoulder, actually for the neckline, to give me a little bit more room here in the neck, I just went here to a size M, so I added like a half of 5 millimeters, something like that, blending to nothing to my shoulder. Of course, I had to do the same on my yoke piece, which is this one here. As I used the back with the yoke, I added just a little bit. As you can see, I did struggle a little bit with deciding which size I wanted to make. So that is what I did for the... Oh, something else that I did even before I started with the toile was, because Knip Mode is drafting for 1.72 m. I'm only 1.69, and I know that, well, most of the time my length on their patterns is a little bit up here above the bust, but in this case I just shortened it a little bit down. I took like, I think they're 2 centimeters off. Did the same for the back, of course, as the pieces need to fit together. And then you can see here, this is the lower back. This is the one that I made all the way around, also to the front. And here you can see another line that is for the, so the upper modification here is for the sway back. But because this pattern piece is in one piece, so it's cut on the fold, and it had an added, a little bit, a really deep fold here in the back, which had to fold in a particular way. I did not really, but they do have a line for the center back, so I just split my pattern in two and made on both sides the sway back adjustment, and then put it back. And I did gain a little bit, as you can see here, in order to put it back on the fold, but of course everything went really nicely because it's getting into that pleat, and the fit is really nice now in the back. It's not hanging like when it's too long. So that was for the sway back adjustment. And the last thing that I wanted to show, I really like the shape of the hem. I think is really nice. It's not too rounded, so I could stitch it in one time without too much problems. And the sleeve, I did not expect to have the sleeves so crazy, because I was really surprised when I've seen the pattern pieces for the sleeves. But this is my sleeve. So the sleeves that you are seeing here actually is made from these two pieces. As you can see, they are really huge. So if this pattern was made in a cotton, like they did it in the magazine, or something with a little bit of more body, can you imagine how much volume there is? So I did shorten these sleeves, as I said, because you get also, I think it's 5 centimeter wide cuff on it. So on my toile I only made the sleeve without the cuff, but I did account for it, so I knew that it's going to be way too long. So I think it's here, maybe, I don't have a centimeter here, but I think it's 5 centimeter I took from the sleeve, and I took everything here at the lower part. And this is how they are looking. One is the, let's see, this is the front, this is the back sleeve. They are getting married here at this outer seam, and then everything is getting, you have here the slit in the front, or in the back I should say, and I remember something, and then everything is getting gathered and in the cuff. As I said, it was a very enjoyable project. Everything was going really nice. I really enjoyed working with this fabric, and it's happening so often, you know, when I'm taking care for something not to mess it up, and at the end it's still wrong. So I had the same with the sleeves. I was really very careful to put the, when I sew the, so you make your slit, and then you put, of course, you sew the seams of the sleeve, and then you need to put the cuff. And you always, when you have a sleeve like this, going to bring it a little bit close. Of course, you need to be careful that when you are putting, this needs to go in. So you need to be careful that your sleeve, your cuff is going to get closed. Let's see, because I have it turned, that is going from the front. Let's see, from the front to the back here when it's getting closed. Where? Because when you are putting the last step in your, or the first step actually in your cuff, you need to be careful that the one that is wrapping over, that the little bias slit here, the slit with the bias needs to be folded in when you put the cuff on. So I was really careful to have that right, because otherwise it's looking stupid if your sleeve is wrapping to the front. So I was done with the shirt. I put the sleeve on, and then I was thinking, ooh, let me see where I want to have my button. And then I realized that both sleeves, they were sewn wrong, or the sleeves not, but the cuffs. So they were both wrapping to the front. So I had to unpick the cuff a little bit here and a little bit here, turn it here to the inside and turn it here to the outside. I did my best to make it right again, but it was not fun to unpick all those white stitches from a white fabric. It's not a lot of fun. And for a little detail, I've used some green thread to put my buttons. So yeah. So this was my I don't know how long it is, my long video about the Knip Mode blouse from May 2023. I highly recommend this pattern. I think it has a lot of potential. You have from the magazine itself all those sleeves, those 3 fabulous sleeves, also the other ones with the pleats here, and also the other and the third one with only 1 pleat at the top. They are all different patterns, really nice ones. Really fun to make actually. And as I said, the fact that it's very easy to adjust to make it sleeveless for the summer. And then I think also the back has some other possibilities, like don't make the pleat but then gather everything here into the yoke. I think there are a lot of possibilities. I think it's a really great pattern, and the fact that in the PDF you get all of them is making it even better. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope to come soon with another one about my PJs from a new pair of PJs from Designer Stitch. That the pattern still needs to be released, and I made it 3 times. I have those gorgeous ones from with cotton satin from Minerva. This one is a cotton poplin, and I have another one in a satin fabric, really nice one with black piping. So I will make a video for these ones as I want. I have some really great tips to share for piping, and I think it's a really fun project, this one too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up if you like it, and put a comment here. I always love to hear your opinions about my videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everybody.